Okay. Okay guys. Next you have something called query string. What is the query string? That means the browser package, whatever the user is going to give the request. That means when you are type something in for searching, that is actually called as query string. When I search web programming, when I search download movies is a query string. That means it is the browser package. Whenever user data input they are giving, that data input by user, it will be called as your query string. Query string is a series of name is equal to value pairs separated by ampersand. That means you are going to use address character. The name in the query string were defined by the HTML form. So it will be defined by HTML form. Query string have certain rules defined by HTTP protocol. Whenever you are going to use query string, it is some rules has been defined by your hypertext transfer protocol. Certain characters such as spaces, that means when you are use a space, you use punctuation symbols and use some foreign character, that will be not considered into your query string. Instead, what will happen? Such a special symbol must be URL encoded. That means those special character, special symbol will be encoded into the URL. How it will be there? Let's see the example. Here you can see the example. What I am using here, URL encoding. How it will happen? I am using as a input type is equal to text and name is equal to title. Okay. What happened here? You can see this form here. Title we are giving, right? We have given the name, that is your title. You have country, right? Then in country, what happened? When URL it will get submit, how it will submit it? Title is equal to, if you search central park, then central, because you are giving a space, the moment you give a space, it will take automatically plus, and then it will be the next character. Condition what you are giving, that means and, because you are joining these two things. And where, what is that? Where is equal to the state, United States. Like this way you will be using as your URL will get encoded. You can see example also. We'll come to the Google. I am searching web programming. Search here. Okay, you can see here on the top URL. What is we are getting? Search, it is the source. Okay, till here the search request has gone. Now you can see here web plus programming. You can see and what is happening, what request you are submitting. So this all encoded format it is there. You can see there so many things are there encoded. This all encoded. Leave this string, but remaining you can see here, the moment I type, it is coming as a web programming. You can see here the request is coming like web plus programming and this one. If you search web programming course, you can see here web plus programming plus course. The moment you use plus, it will be automatically the query string will be used in URL encoded. It will go to the URL with encoding. Just 1 minute guys. Like this, every form will be there, some encoding will be there, and with that encoding the data will be get submitted. Next, Now we have form element. As I mentioned, whenever you have the form, there is the action need to be performed. Then in the form, especially you have two special elements, essential features of the form. What? The one is the action and one is the method attribute. Two things it is very important to use. Without this, your request will be not processed, because action, there is no action, then perform, it will not do any operation. Therefore, you are going to use two elements. What are the elements? You will be in form element, you are using attribute. First one is the action. What is the action? Action attribute will specify the URL of the server side resources that will process the form data. That means action, what action you want to perform to the server side. When you have the server side resource, what action or what process will happen with the particular form data that is used by the action attribute. Next, you have the method attribute. What is the method attribute? Method attribute specify that how the query string data will be transmitted from the web browser to the server. That means whenever you are submitting the request, how the request will be, query string is going to submit it. In the moment, if it is get is there and there is the post is there, two way you can use get and post. The action attribute specify the URL of the web server side resource that will process the form data. The moment action will specify, obviously it is going to be process your data. And the method attributes specify the query string will be transferred data from your web browser. That means from your PC to the server, as we are using to get and post. Generally, your form data is sent using post method. Whenever if you not define even method is equal to post or get, that means generally the data is going to be post method. The get method is useful when you are testing or developing a system. When you are making something you want to check, then you are going to use as a get method. That means you are going to examine that, you are going to check that whatever the query you are submitting through the web browser, that means address bar, it is getting submitted correctly or not. That means you can see the data what is into the URL. That is the use of get. Since the get method uses the URL to transmit the query string, form data will be saved when the user bookmark the page, which may be desirable, but generally a potential security risk shared use computers. Why they have said the potential security risk? Because as I mentioned, the moment you use the get method, in get method, whatever you are submitting in URL, that all it will be visible. Suppose you have a form where you are submitting with the name, your mobile number, suppose it is asking for debit card or credit card details. If you use the get method, whatever you are writing in the form, that all will be visible. That's why it is a security leak. It is a security risk. If anyone hackers attack on your browser, they will be able to steal your data. That's why whenever you are testing, you can use the get, but most of the time you should use the post. So from security point of view, the data will be not visible to the others people. Now, what are the attribute you have? As I mentioned, you have the one attribute as you have action. You are going to perform the action. That means it will specify the URL where the form is going to submit. Method, you are going to specify the HTTP method as a get and post. You have another attribute, that is the name. That means it attribute denote the name of the form. That means you can specify what form name you want. And target. A target, that means the address. It specify the target of address where you want action to be attribute. Action attribute will be proceeded. That you can use. These are the attribute in the form. You can see here another example for the get and post. I am using form method is equal to get action process.php. Now, the moment you use, what will happen in get? It will go like this: process.php question mark title, whatever you are searching, it will go the query string like this way. The method you use post, what will happen in post method? You can see that process.php. What it is you are giving the request, it is not visible on the browser, but the query string, it is getting submitted like this. So in post, as I said, right? So that's why we should always use post when you are submitting. These are the two different syntax for the get and post. Now, what is the advantage and disadvantage of the get and post? In get, you have data can be clearly seen in the address bar. As I said, one thing, point number one, data will be visible in address bar. Second, data will be remain in your browser history and cookies or cache. When you bookmark, the data also will be bookmarked. Limit on the number of character, when you will be having a limitation number of character when you use in the form. But the same place, if you use post, data, what will happen? Data will be binary. That means encrypted format will be there, binary format. And data will be hidden from the user. That means even when I am submitting, it will not show in the URL what you are submitting. And then the submitted data is not stored in the cache, history or bookmarks. Even if you bookmark that, it will be not stored. So security leak will be not there. So these are the advantage and disadvantage of using get and post method.